Hey friend, and welcome to Happily Hormonal. I'm your host, Berry on Berry. Join me as we take a walk on the wild side of understanding our hormones, from puberty to menopause. Yeah, we're about to cover it all. From practical strategies to expert advice and personal experiences, you'll learn how to thrive through each stage of your hormonal life. Whether you're looking to improve your mood, manage those cravings, or just boost your overall vibes, this podcast is designed to help you embrace being happily hormonal. Hi, love, and welcome back to another episode of Happily Hormonal. It's your happy and hormonal bestie, Berry, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of groundwork. We're going to be talking about the 7 most important hormones for women and natural ways to support the body and those hormone levels. Now, one of the first things I want to go ahead and say is when I say groundwork, this is the baseline information that I think everyone needs to know about hormones in general, but especially women, because we are so cyclical, right? We're quite literally hormonal by nature. And I think often when people are on these hormone balancing journeys or trying to optimize different areas of their health or heal their body, right? They're healing their body so they can optimize their health. They notice something's a little bit off here. Something's a little weird here. And I think a lot of it comes back to the fact that there's this missing piece of information, and it's such a quintessential part of your wellness journey. And so I want to delve into these hormones with you today. But before we do, let me just express some gratitude for you. I am so happy and so honored, truly, and beyond grateful that you are subscribed to this podcast and that you all are really telling your friends about me. I don't know what happened. I don't know what unlocked on October 5th when I said changes here, but it's a new character for sure, because I kid you not, the podcast downloads have increased so much. My reach on social media is so much further than it has been in a long time. And sometimes I literally forget that I am living in the middle of an answered prayer. Let me set the scene for you. It is literally fall of 2019, and I was praying to God to give me the opportunity to leave my corporate job and to minister to women with their health and their hormones. I quite literally remember it clear as day. I remember going to a vision casting workshop, right? And leaving that workshop in December and being I'm going to leave my corporate job come August of 2020, because 2020 is the year of perfect vision. And I finally got it, right? Fast forward to March of 2020, and I'm let go from my corporate job. I had a little bit of a pity party because I couldn't understand how I was a non-essential employee. But baby, when I tell you, opportunity after opportunity was rolling in, I was making more money after leaving my corporate job or getting let go from my corporate job, y'all. I'm not even gonna front, than I was in corporate. Do you know how wild that is? Honestly and truly, so bizarre. It's not bizarre, but it's wild. It's what? Right? All security was out of the window. All stability was out of the window. And I feel like losing that corporate job was confirmation. It was God testing me and say, are you going to rely on me and step into your purpose? Or are you still going to trust people more? Right? And obviously I've been doing this full time ever since, but I just forget. I think a lot of times we can all forget that we live sometimes, more often than not, in the middle of an answered prayer. It is literally 12 p.m. on a Monday, and I'm sitting at my desk recording a podcast to teach you about your body. But do you want to know what I did this morning? Okay, let me take you through my morning really quick. I promise we're going to get into the really good stuff in just a second, but I need to share this with you because I'm just so grateful. This morning, I got up at 5:45. prepared the house and got everything set because the littles were, in case you don't know, my amazing boyfriend has 2 kids from his previous marriage, and they're with us 50% of the time. But I have to prepare the house for the kids to wake up. Y'all know what it's like if you have kids, you know what it's like waking them up and getting them moving, right? So I've got the whole house set up and, did the stepmom morning routine that I have, which is really just taking care of them and getting them set up to get out of the front door by 7:45, right? Because daddy is in charge of drop off. I do everything else. He does drop off. So I get them out the door and then I think I sat down, had a cup of coffee and just sat on my couch for like a hot 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, just kind of combing through my emails, looking at social media and seeing what needs to be updated, checking in to see any news, like current event stuff, like just really, really chill. Then I came up to my office space. I sat at my desk for a second and put together a reply to an email that required me to be on my computer as opposed to on my phone. And then I got changed. Okay. And I took my little puppy out for a walk. We went for a nice it was a brisk 25-minute walk. Let me tell y'all, it was 37 degrees. And I was like, don't do that. Michigan is back. And then I came home, had another cup of coffee, started some laundry, sat down at my desk a little bit more, got to catch up with my boyfriend because he popped in out of nowhere, which he often does. He works a few blocks away from where we live. His business is like 6 blocks away, neither here nor there. Then he went back out and then I just decided, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to Lululemon. I went to Lululemon, treated myself to new sports bras, some new leggings. Listen, y'all, I frolicked over to Aerie and Claire's, ended up getting nothing there, went into Francesca's, like went over to Pottery Barn because I was looking for something very specific. They didn't have it, like y'all. Then I went to Whole Foods and got some pears, some figs, and some dragon fruit because I just felt like it. Like, I'm sorry, what? And then I came home and now I'm sitting down to record a podcast. Y'all, I share all of that because it is like, this is what I prayed for. I prayed for the moments where I could wake up gently, love on my family, take care of myself, go and do as I please, and still come back and work, still come back and serve. And like, I'm really challenging myself to switch from, oh, I have to do work to I get to serve. I'm trying to switch that language around. I've been recording podcasts, literally one podcast a day for the last few weeks just to get ahead and prepare for the season to come. And it just baffles me that this is the life that I live. And part of the reason I get to live this way is because of you. And I just want to say thank you. Now, with that being said, details aside, let's get into today's episode. Because I know you're probably thinking, girl, that was a lot. We 10 minutes into the episode and you talking about your morning. I don't care what you got at Lululemon. Although I feel like y'all really will really appreciate the new outfits I got. But I digress. So first and foremost, let's just frame this episode. We're going to talk about 7 of the most important hormones. We're going to talk about what hormones are, and then we're going to get into the 7 hormones. And I'm going to go ahead and say, like, let's say estrogen, what estrogen is, and then I'm going to share with you probably 3, maybe 4 different ways to support estrogen levels naturally in the body. And it may seem redundant as I am saying these things, right? You're probably going to hear me say sleep well, eat well, but it's because literally our bodies were designed to operate off of simple daily habits. Because we have the internet now, people can share their like 12-step wellness routine in the morning, but like it really doesn't have to be that complicated. So I'm really hoping that today's episode shares that with you. Not only this, but of course, we're going to do a wrap up towards the end. And I'm finally going to share with you what I have been working on. So go ahead, grab your mantra, grab your coffee. Maybe if you're listening to this in the evening, get a nice little tea, like the Energy Flow tea from Daloon, which is another tea I really, really love. Oh my gosh, so good. Grab it. Get your notebook out if I didn't already say that. and let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what hormones are. Hormones are the chemical messengers of the body. Okay. And I think what's really important to know is they are their own language. So if you have been on this hormone balancing journey for a hot minute now and you're not feeling like you're getting the results you want or getting the traction that you need, often it's because your hormones don't make sense to you. Often it's because the language of the body you still need to learn, right? You have to become fluent in this language. And I think for me, it took me, wow, okay, so I started working in the health space in 2016. It took me a solid 4 years to really become fluent in hormones the way that I am. Okay. And this is coming from somebody who is a practitioner and an educator. So if you are somebody who's not spending all of your time learning about hormones, please know nothing is wrong with you. It's just going to take a second. And that is natural. Okay. It's normal. The reason we focus so much on maintaining hormonal quote unquote balance is because if your hormones are too high in one area, too low in another area, and they're not in the right range, that can cause a lot of symptoms such as gut dysbiosis, a lot of bloating, say leaky gut, hormonal acne, painful periods, brain fog, fatigue. All of those things happen as a result of a very large imbalance, right? But I do believe it's really important that you know that hormonal balance is not really the right terminology to use. It's the marketable terminology, but at any given point in time, there are over 50 hormones doing something in your body. Each of these hormones has to basically fire a certain way. And if they don't, right, that harmony can be thrown off. So that's why you'll often hear me say hormonal harmony, or you'll hear me say, quote unquote, hormonal balance. Because there's truly not a balance. There's simply a range, but that's neither here nor there. So what are hormones? They're the chemical messengers of the body. They're quite literally the body's language. Now let's get into the most important hormones for women, okay? First off, we know estrogen. We know her, we love her, we want her, we need her, but not too much of her because she can get toxic. Estrogen is definitely the key hormone at play in the first half of your menstrual cycle. Okay, she's the primary female sex hormone responsible for regulating your menstrual cycle and the overall reproductive system. It also influences our bone health and our heart health, our cardiovascular function, okay? To support and balance your estrogen naturally, you definitely want to make sure that you're incorporating a lot of cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and kale, even asparagus and arugula. Arugula is one of my recent favorites, and cabbage, because they can actually support estrogen metabolism. Okay. In addition to that, regular physical activity can help you balance the levels of estrogen. You might want to consider consuming phytoestrogenic foods. This specifically, I would recommend to somebody who knows they have low estrogen. Okay. Another thing I would highly recommend is if you are somebody who knows you have high estrogen. A few weeks back, I uploaded an episode called 12 Foods to Naturally Decrease Your Estrogen Levels. Highly recommend giving that a listen. I will link that in the show notes for you. But another thing that I want to share with you, and I say this in love, but maintaining a very healthy weight. So the thing that a lot of people kind of don't put into the hormone balancing conversation, they don't talk about, is the impact of weight on your hormone levels. But if you have a lot of body fat, for instance, that can actually increase your estrogen levels. So I'm not saying you need to lose weight, but what I am saying is maybe let's turn that fat into muscle, because that way you can decrease some of those estrogen levels, right? And keep them in check. And again, that's a whole different conversation Actually, I'm going to write a note because I think we need to do like a weight in estrogen or a weight in hormone episode. Weight and hormone episode. I'm literally writing this down. Look for that in December. Straight up. Look forward to that episode in December because I know it's going to be a really great episode for you all. And this isn't a weight loss episode. It's just going to be about the relationship between higher levels of body fat and your hormones. So there's that. The second hormone, right, that we want to talk about is progesterone. Progesterone is what works and twerks in the second half of that menstrual cycle. And one thing I want to say about progesterone is designed to make you feel cuddly and lovey-dovey. It's also one of those things that makes you be like more rested. However, a lot of people have too much estrogen and not enough progesterone in their body, or they have too much estrogen in relation to progesterone, I guess it would be the better way to say it. And so that causes a lot of issues. So there's some women who are like, oh, I need to decrease my estrogen levels. When really, maybe you don't need to decrease estrogen, but rather you need to increase progesterone, right? So these are things to start thinking about, especially if you're like, oh, I didn't know that. Say, for instance, you are somebody who has been trying to conceive a lot, and you have not necessarily been the most successful. Yes, there are hormone tests and little gene markers that you could be looking for, but also sometimes it could be, and I'm not saying it's always this simple, but it could be this simple. For a lot of my clients, we've seen that when they increase their progesterone boosting foods, they are conceiving. I can literally tell you about one of my clients, Farah we worked together in 2021 and she had PCOS. And so we already knew that there were some issues kind of going on with her hormonally. Well, she started increasing those progesterone producing foods or increasing foods. And all of a sudden, probably a year after we started working together, maybe a little bit, actually, maybe that was within 8 months. I don't know. I'm having her on the podcast soon, so she'll tell you. But she was then able to conceive, and now she has the most beautiful baby girl. But that's neither here nor there. It's to say that progesterone matters. Progesterone works in tandem with your estrogen to help regulate your menstrual cycle and to support a healthy pregnancy. Adequate levels of progesterone are essential for fertility and for overall reproductive health. When it comes to supporting the progesterone levels naturally, managing your stress is a must because chronic stress can actually disrupt your progesterone production. Okay? Incorporating foods that are rich in vitamin B6, like chickpeas and salmon, bananas, B vitamins can help with progesterone production. Getting enough sleep, because people don't do that, okay? Getting enough sleep and getting good quality sleep. Must. It is a must. And there is also a cream that I recommend to my clients, and it is yam cream. I love Anna's wild yam cream, but it's like on back order. But there's a very, very specific way to take this. So if you are somebody who's like, oh, I need that, or I want to know more about it, just reach out to me personally on Instagram and I'll send you a link to the one that I recommend. And then also some best practices for applying it, because you do want to make sure you're applying it correctly and giving yourself the right support. So progesterone. Okay, so we've covered estrogen and progesterone. Now we need to talk about testosterone. Listen, do not roll your eyes at me, but testosterone is so freaking important. And I think a lot of people forget that testosterone is like just such, testosterone is such an important hormone for your libido as a woman, for your literal body image, right? Because adequate levels of testosterone help us actually tone and tighten our bodies in certain places. But it is really just a good hormone for women when it comes to maintaining our energy levels. And I think we have the wrong idea about testosterone, right? Because we just think of testosterone like that's for the boys. Yes, but it's also for the girls. Yeah, the girls. So doing simple things like working out, like strength training exercises, can help boost your testosterone levels. Getting enough sleep, again, it's going to help with the production of the right amount of testosterone. Consuming zinc rich foods like our oysters, our pumpkin seeds, spinach, great. Okay. But it can also be very beneficial to decrease your stress levels. And when you're super stressed, that can actually lower your testosterone levels, which could be helpful in some cases, especially if you have somebody that's like androgen based PCOS. But you also have to realize that creates a negative feedback loop in the body. And that negative feedback loop is basically not your friend. Okay. So, testosterone. We do like, we'll say him. Okay. But we don't need too much of him. We need a healthy amount of him. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into a very, very fun hormones, our thyroid hormones, T3 and T4. Now, listen, they do have some scientific names, but I'm not about to try to pronounce them. Okay. They are regulating our body's metabolism, our energy levels, and our temperature regulation. A lot of people have shared with me that they feel like they have night sweats when they are PMSing and on their period. And full transparency, the first day of my period, I'll be sweating. I'll be sweating out my blowout. I'll be sweating out this press. Okay. Me and my boyfriend always laugh. He's like, babe, I'm like, shh, shh, shh. I'm washing the sheets now. I know I sweat a lot. And it's because of my my thyroid hormones. Now, another thing people talk about are the night sweats that they get when they are perimenopausal and menopausal, right? So let me provide some context, okay? Your thyroid hormone is literally like the T3 and T4. We need them so that we have good energy levels, a great metabolism, and we feel really like we have this homeostasis within our body's temperature. A lot of people who have an underactive thyroid, right? They notice that like they have a hard time losing weight. And then there's people who have an overactive thyroid and they can't gain weight. And I used to be in the camp of a person with an overactive thyroid. And when I say used to, I would say from the time I was 16 to the time I was 21, I had an overactive thyroid. And much of that was to do with like how my lifestyle was at that time. But again, neither here nor there. What you need to know about your thyroid and really having the proper levels of them is that consuming iodine rich foods like seaweed, fish, some dairy products is really going to be necessary for your thyroid production. If you are somebody who is on thyroid medication, please do not take exogenous forms of iodine because a lot of thyroid medication and iodine do not mix at all, which I have a question for Big Pharma on that, but I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to stay laser focused. Okay. Another thing that's really going to help you are things like selenium. That is a really, really great mineral. My body is addicted to selenium. Brazil nuts, eggs, mushrooms, they all aid the thyroid in your hormone metabolism. The thyroid hormone metabolism it's such a fascinating thing. And we are going to do a deep dive into thyroids come January of 2024, because that is like Thyroid Awareness Month. And just a little sneaky peek. That's what we're talking about inside of the Happily Hormonal Club membership. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, shove. If you didn't catch that, like where you been at? Check the show notes for all the details there. But in addition to that, of course, making sure you're managing your stress and having really good sleep hygiene. Oh my God, how many times are you going to tell us to manage our stress and get good sleep, Barry? As many times as I need to until you start freaking doing it. Because listen, sis, we got to stop buying like sheets off of Amazon. Just go ahead and like invest in Brooklinen, okay? That was not sponsored. It's just like we're at that point in our adulthood, okay? The next hormone I want to go ahead and talk with you about is insulin. Now, insulin is a hormone that we know regulates our blood sugar levels, and women with insulin resistant or imbalances are often at a higher risk of developing PCOS and diabetes. So, what I really want to say is one, yes, there are four different types of PCOS, but the most common type is insulin resistant based PCOS. Number two, when it comes to supporting your insulin levels naturally, consuming a balanced diet that focuses on whole foods, complex carbohydrates, healthy fats, and really lean proteins is going to be the bare minimum. Okay. Obviously, making sure you are exercising regularly. However, I want you doing lower intensity workouts and weightlifting. That has been scientifically proven to help regulate women and their cycles who have PCOS. Okay. So I know we love a good high intensity workout here. I know we love spin class around these parts. I know we love sprinting and circuit training. But if you're a woman with PCOS, lower intensity weight training is going to be so essential for you. I would love to recommend a very great Instagram account called PCOS Weight Loss. It's just so interesting. There's so much free information that I think will support you. Another thing I'm going to recommend is if you want to work with someone specifically in stabilizing your blood sugar levels, yes, you can work with me, but I also love to recommend my friend Marjan. She is a certified nutritionist, or in Canada, I think it's called a qualified nutritionist, if I'm not mistaken. And she is my blood sugar bestie. I've had her on the podcast before, so I know you have heard her talk about it. She's going to be coming back on the podcast again. She's like got an incredible 8-week program where you can get one-on-one coaching from her about stabilizing your blood sugar levels. So something to look into. Not only this, but incorporating things such as cinnamon, turmeric, and fenugreek into your meals can help regulate those blood sugar levels. Now, listen, I want to talk to the girlies who like to have coffee on an empty stomach because you do what you want when you pop it. I'm saying that because that's what I do. I do that, and I know people hate that, but I do what I want. Adding a little bit of cinnamon can switch the game. It can really help you not have that energy crash. It can help your blood sugar levels not spike. So, add a little bit of cinnamon because it's what we're doing. And of course, making sure you're maintaining a healthy weight. When there are higher levels of body fat on the body, that can contribute to insulin resistance. Okay. The next hormone I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about, which I'm so sick of this hormone, but we got to talk about her. Let's talk about cortisol. Okay, so we know that cortisol is commonly referred to as the stress hormone, and we know it's released in response to stress. And we know that chronic stress and high levels of cortisol can negatively impact your health as a woman. But let me put something in perspective, okay? When your cortisol levels are high and out of order, pretty much, that can deplete magnesium stores in the body, and magnesium is literally a cofactor enzyme to over 300 different processes in the body. Okay. It can also deplete your body of estrogen. Okay. Not only this, it can cause a negative feedback loop where it's depleting the body of estrogen. The body's trying to produce more estrogen. So then it comes up to, we have an estrogen dominance. And then not only do you have high cortisol, but you also have high estrogen, and your body can't figure out how to regulate. That's a lot. That's a whole lot. So you have to keep your cortisol in check. Okay. I know a lot of you are like, girl, what? Yes. When I say keep your cortisol in line, like if you can keep your cortisol in line, if you can keep your insulin in line, we can do anything else when it comes to creating hormonal harmony, also quote unquote, hormonal balance, quote unquote, right? We can do a lot. We can move the needle a lot faster in helping you get your results when it comes to your wellness, when it comes to balancing those hormones, when it comes to losing weight, maybe growing your hair, clarifying your skin, increasing your energy. If you can get your cortisol and your insulin in check, no problem. No problem, shorty. But if your cortisol and your insulin are out of order, they're not in check, that creates a lot of other problems. You feel me? You feel me? Okay, so now you're probably thinking, well, Barry, how can I or what can I do when it comes to this cortisol situation? Like, how can I ensure it stays in check? One, let me just say this, be proactive rather than reactive. A lot of people waste a lot of energy on things because they don't know how to say no. They don't know how to communicate boundaries. And I'm not saying that's you. I'm just saying that proactive rather than reactive, chef's kiss. Okay. Number 2, meditation, deep breathing, yoga, and journaling. These simple practices just slow the body down and relax the nervous system, gets you out of your sympathetic and into the parasympathetic, or out of the parasympathetic into the sympathetic, I should say. That gets you out of your fight and flight and into your rest and digest, okay? And that's ultimately what we want. Consistent sleep routine. Now, I know that sounds a little weird if you're listening to this live. Daylight saving time is coming up, but let me tell you, girl, I've been sleeping in a little bit later, it feels like, and going to bed a little bit earlier, and it feels so good. So good. Another thing is to really make sure that you're incorporating different adaptogenic herbs such as rhodiola and ashwagandha. Now, here's what I'm going to say. Don't just do what the girls on TikTok are doing where they're just adding ashwagandha to like every single thing under the sun, right? Because maybe your body doesn't need that. But maybe what your body needs is something like rhodiola, maybe even saffron. These are all really great herbs that can help your body. Your body could need maca, shatavari. I mean, I got a whole list of different things that I recommend, but at your personal discretion. Often on the back of these packages. So I'm going to take my ashwagandha, for instance. I love the ashwagandha from Terrasol Superfoods. You can order it on Amazon, and usually you can get it the next day if you have Prime. You can also find it inside of like your local TJ Maxx or Marshalls, okay? But you flip it over, and on the back, it will tell you the serving size. And often it's like a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon is the serving size. That's what I personally do unless I have a specific goal I'm trying to reach or like a thing I'm trying to correct. So if I was trying to increase my libido, right, instead of doing like, let's say 1 teaspoon of maca, I would personally do 2 teaspoons, like just a little extra boost. And I would only do that for 6 weeks at a time. Again, this is what I would do. I'm not saying you have to do it. This is what I be doing. Okay. All right. Now, with that being said, let's talk about the last hormone, which is melatonin. Okay. Not melanin, melatonin. Okay. They're similar, but they're very different. So melatonin is actually what helps us regulate our sleep and wake cycle. Obviously, we know we need to get good sleep. Okay. But how do we actually get good sleep? If you are somebody who knows you're a hot sleeper, crack a window. Straight up, bring that temperature down. Like the ideal sleeping temperature, if I'm not mistaken, is about 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Do not ask me what that is in Celsius. You know, if you're a Celsius girly, you know how to do that conversion down somewhere. Also, of course, making sure you have a great sleep schedule. But let me tell you, sleep-friendly foods, listen, cherries, almonds, kiwi, they contain melatonin or its precursors, okay? So I'm not saying you have to do tart cherry juice, but what I'm saying is wild blueberry juice and tart cherry juice together with a little blood orange and a dash of like some sparkling water, baby. That's my sleepy girl mocktail, but y'all don't know that. Well, if you're listening right now, you know, but the rest of the people don't know that. Not only this, but like just having a really good sleep ritual. So I want to share with you my sleep routine right now and how I really get myself into a relaxed state. So after dinner and like once the kids are down for bed, if they're with us. If they're not with us, I still do this, but around 8:15 or so, I will finally do my evening skincare routine. Then from there, I literally turn on my pink Himalayan salt lamp. I actually put on a Hallmark movie because I love watching Hallmark Channel, but especially during like the holiday season, like I love the Christmas magic vibes. But my brain is already like, okay, we're relaxing. About 30 minutes before I go to sleep, I will turn off my iPad, I'll turn off my phone, and I literally will just lay there in silence. Often my boyfriend's out in the living room, like just watching something on TV, doing his own thing, and I'm in the bedroom doing my own thing. And that just relaxes me. I'll let my puppy out one last time, but he even knows when he sees the Himalayan salt lamp come on, I'll let him out to go potty. He comes back in, he curls up on his little pillow. I lay in my bed and I start drifting off to sleep. I know that it's like a very simple sleep routine, but I don't always have time to make a sleepy girl mocktail. What I always do try to make time for is my frankincense and castor oil skincare. And I like to make sure that I have like this little unwinding moment before I'm off to sleep. I am often sleep by 10 p.m. Usually it's 9 o'clock where I think I'm like out like a light, but sometimes it'll be a little bit later. At the latest, I'm asleep by 10, not like getting into bed by 10. No, I'm like knocked out by 10 p.m. Okay. So just to recap our 7 most important hormones: estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, your thyroid hormone, insulin, cortisol, and melatonin. Okay. I know I shared a lot, but if I were to say, okay, this is all you need to take away from this episode, it's as simple as making sure you are nourishing your body properly, getting enough sleep, and moving your body daily. Okay. Eat, move, and rest. As my friends Dusty and Aaron would say from Eat, Move, Rest Your Best. Now, with that being said, I think it's also very important that you understand that finding hormonal harmony is essential for your overall health and well-being. By understanding the importance of your 7 key hormones and really implementing these natural strategies, you can promote a lot of health and longevity without stressing out. Okay. If you are like, girl, I need so much help,
then I want to let you know that next week you will be receiving a very exclusive invitation to join the Harmony Collective. The Harmony Collective is a 12-week group lifestyle coaching program for those of you who actually want to understand hormonal health and harmony beyond just the statement, I want to balance my hormones, or I'm eating in sync with my cycle, or I'm working out in sync with my cycle. Like, this is a full out lifestyle coaching program that's going to teach you the tools to not only support where you are now in life, but where you are headed, whatever your goal is, whether it's to get pregnant in the next few months, maybe it's to like reverse a chronic condition that you're told doesn't actually reverse, but like there's always a way. Yeah, this 12-week group lifestyle coaching program is literally going to help you understand and truly support and transform your hormonal health. I'm so excited for this program because for once, we're going to be looking at things not only together, as in me and you one-on-one, but as a community, because when one woman heals, we all begin to heal. Not only this, but you will also be doing some hormonal health testing with me as well. So we're going to understand what's going on with your hormones, understand what vitamins and minerals your body may be deficient in, and what your body is like definitely doing great with. We're going to talk about your food intolerances and look at that feedback from the numbers, but apply it to your actual life. So whether you're a woman who is on the go or you're a woman who's working from home, wherever you're at, this program is literally designed to give you the tools, the knowledge, and the resources to not only support your hormones now, but your hormones beyond this moment. And I just cannot wait. I know you're going to want more details. So If you heard that just now and you're like, no, 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 I don't need any more information, I need to join right now, DM me on Instagram the word harmony and I will send you all of the details. And I do want to let you know that this is a very intimate group. And when I say intimate, I'm only taking 6 people on because we're kicking things off in January of 2024. For those of you who are like, ooh, shout, I need it. Again, send me the word harmony via Instagram DM and I'll share with you more details. I cannot wait to share space with you next week. As always, love you, mean it.